Well, hello, folks. This is Ron Howard, yours truly. Hey, if you guys were a part of the live interview session last night with James Hohensey, thanks for being there. It was a blast. And we had a really good turnout considering it was the day before Memorial Day. And it was still really cool. We had a great turnout. I think we had like maybe 65 or so. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Numbers don't matter, right? Numbers don't matter. But hey, this does matter. I am a day late, and I'll give myself a break because I normally like to have a preset effect out every Monday of each week. And, well, it's Monday, so I'm not really behind, but I like to have this stuff out the night before, at least early morning. And I thought, instead of just releasing the effect along with the video's done and it's ready for you to watch of the interview. I thought I would just go through the process of how I create these preset effects. And sometimes I'm really creative and I'm in the mood, and sometimes I'm just like, oh God, I don't want to do this. But today I feel kind of creative, kind of in the mood, and I wanted to share it with you. Many, many times I'll just start dragging effects down to see what looks good on the mega tree. But today I thought, let's do something for a whole house, but maybe be able to use it for other things. And while we're at it, why don't we incorporate some of this crazy stuff over here called Roto Zoom. Love that stuff. So, instead of starting fresh, I went to my Any Occasion effect, and I pulled it out and said, you know what? Let's just take a look at what this looks like. And so I applied the preset, and this is what I got. I thought, oh yeah, I remember that. I had that on the Matrix called Any Occasion. That's kind of cool. Now you'll notice I don't have it centered. That's alright. I'm going to leave it 50-50 right now because most of your homes are probably a little better centered than mine. But this was my working area, and I thought, well, what can I do with this to make this kind of interesting? So I started playing with it, and now I've got, with this Roto Zoom, and using some XZ coordinates, getting it to kind of spin and flatten out. And I thought, well, that's kind of cool. But certainly we can get it to do something a little bit better than that, right? So let's look at what's going on up here with the render style. So the render style, and let me get rid of these because these don't help us anymore. And again, as I've explained to many, I like to pull one out of the way and look at it and just figure out what is this doing all by itself. And we give this a second. Okay, that's kind of blasé. And it's rotated. So I always go to my overlay center and I look at that and I think, well, that looks kind of interesting. Let's go to vertical. And I swear, a lot of things that used to work all the time in overlay center, sometimes I'm forced to use vertical per model now. So, and that looks okay too. There's a lot going on. Kind of like the overlay center. Let's put that there, and we'll put this back into place, and we'll worry about that in a minute. Then we have this really cool pinwheel, and this is the one that I'm using the Roto Zoom for. And I'm using a value curve here. And if I click on the value curve, I'm starting at 0. I'm letting it go to 213 in the mid-level and then back to 0. Okay? And that's all it's really doing. Kind of cool, huh? All right. We don't need that anymore. Let's go over here, and that is what's going on with the house. And then this section here is probably just a whole mess of stuff going on. 3, 2, 1. Oh, that's right. I changed a few things here. Okay. So here it just looks like fireflies are invading your property, and I like that. So you've got 3 different effects that you could use. So once you have this and you kind of like what's going on, then it comes down to deciding what you want the layer to do. If I put this on normal, well, we get this, and that's okay too. I mean, that doesn't look bad. That's a cool little effect. You've got the fan that's spinning the pinwheel, that it's going to flatten out and come back in. What I always do here is the first one I go to, because I'm always curious, what will one is mask do? And it's not so good. 2 is mask, not really digging that. Then we get into the sweet stuff. 1 is unmask, but then we lose the fan. It's showing what's happening at the top, we bring 2 as unmasked, we get these colors back. But to me, that's really not that flattering. So I always go down the list just to see what it's going to do. And I'll know right away if it's something mind-boggling, something that's just going to be awesome. And that's kind of cool. So I'm going to remember 2 reveals 1. I'm going to go shadow 1 on 2. And I'm not opposed to that. I think that kind of looks cool. Let's bring some color back into that. But then we lose the fan effect. And then our layered, we're going to get a little bit of everything here. That's okay. I go back to my average. And that's kind of a cool effect too. I'm okay with that. And then if we use our subtractive, it takes those sections out and you lose that completely. So I put that in there. I want to see it. If I put additive, then we should get a lot more of that in. You see how that kind of comes in? So let's leave it on additive. Let's look at our fan. Right now it's on 1 is unmasked. If we put it on normal, I kind of like that. As a matter of fact, that makes me want to pull that out and look at just this. I kind of like that. Okay, so how many of you just thought, oh my God, Ron is taking me back. I just thought of the movie Krull. Remember that sci-fi movie where he had to get this object that would turn, spin, and fly and kill all the bad aliens and whatnot? Yeah, so I will now call this effect Krull. And I have just aged myself. Okay, so let's look at this and some choices we have. Let's go to the 1 is mask, and then this is kind of neat because this gives you just a knockout. And if you were to make this effect a lot more dense and more lights, that would look pretty cool. So these are things I want everyone to work on. Play with these settings. Find different combinations that are really cool. Let's go to 2 is mask. And of course, that just to me looks like a curtain closing on the fan. Not digging it. Or the pinwheel, that is. I'm not digging that either. Oh, that was the same one. 2 is unmasked. Looks like birds in flight. 1 reveals 2. And that's okay. That's very, very similar to what we had from the beginning, right? 2 reveals 1. It's not going to really do anything for us. Show 1 on 2. We're going to lose that completely. 2 on 1 brings it back. But then we just see sparkles in the background. And heck, we don't need all this to do that. Layered. That's going to be very similar to 1, the very original that we had. Average, again, isn't going to do much different. We could subtract it. It is subtracted, so you get nothing. So let's go back to our normal. I think that was okay, and there was another one that we liked. That was kind of cool. What was it that? Shadow 1 on 2. No. Shadow 2 on 1. I'll go back to normal. And actually the 1 is unmasked was kind of a neat effect, except it looked like it was closing. I think it was 1 is masked. Yeah, it was this one here that I thought was kind of interesting. But let's just go back to normal. Now the question is, what do we do with this? Do we even want this? Does this just become old hat? Are we bored with it? Should we go in here and add a counterclockwise zoom to that to get some movement going? And then throw this back in here. But I really don't like that. So let's go down here to shadow 2 on 1. Yeah, not liking that. I still like that effect the best, to be honest with you, because I like what's going on in the background. If you have a lot of lights on your house, it's pretty cool. You can play with the colors. So shadow 1 on 2. Let's do 2 as unmasked. See, I don't really like all the noise that's going on in the background. It just looks fragmented and doesn't look good. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to get rid of this. Bye-bye. Don't like you. But you say, but no, Ron, we want more effects in there. Oh, okay. We could do that. So let's do this. Let's copy this. Let's paste this at the top. And then let's just change this to now. Remember in one of my other videos I talked about these settings. If you want to keep the attributes when you change something on here, deselect this, deselect it, and now I can drag over, because I keep calling it fan, let's drag over a fan. And now I want to turn these back on because I don't want to forget later when I want things to reset. And what I'm going to do is, unfortunately, this doesn't move the way I would like it to, but I want to be able to see this because we have to change the radius on this. Here we go. And we have to have it catch up to us. Oh, look at that. Look how slow that is. Let's go with a red and a green. Alright, I can work with that. What? That is interesting. Let's pull you back into place here. I kind of like that. I really, 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 really do. It's different. So, we could play with some settings on here. Oh, you know what? It is still looks like it reset all this. No, it didn't. Isn't that interesting? It kept this, which is good. This was set to normal. Must have been set to normal. I changed the colors. Let's go in here and let's play around with this. That mask simply is going to open that up, mask it out. 2 is going to just get rid of it, so we don't want that. Not into that. 1 is unmask. As you can see what it's doing there. That's kind of interesting, but then we lose the pinwheel. Let's go to shadow 1 and 2. I really like the normal. I mean, we could subtract it too. Nope. I liked it on normal. Kind of opens up, flattens out. Okay, so I see a couple effects in there, and I'm still not sold on this. Only because I don't like the coordinates of how it just looks like it's closing like a curtain. So what I might do is put additive. That's not so bad. Anyway, what I'll do is I will just choose these 3 so you folks can play with these. We'll call this Krull because that's what it reminds me of. And I tell you what, we'll have a little competition. I'll have a prize that goes out to the person that comes up with the most interesting effect using these 3 effects in 12 seconds. I won't tell you what the prize is yet because I got to figure out what I want to give away. But it will make it a fun, friendly competition, and I'll share them in the group, all the different ones that you came up with. And I've spent, what, 10, 15 minutes on this. And some of you that really want to get into this, go crazy and come up with a cool effect. All right, we'll talk to you guys soon.